Hello there, kia ora. There is no better day than Waitangi Day to observe the catch-22 that this government's created for itself through its own actions and attitudes. On Wednesday, government ministers Shane Jones, Winston Peters, Tama Potaka and David Seymour were greeted with peaceful protests that included singing waiata while they spoke on the pai, having their microphone removed and the audience turning their backs in unison when they spoke. None of this happened to the Prime Minister, because he's not attending Waitangi this year, which he's come under fire for. Being there, they got protested at. Not being there, they get criticised. From their perspective, they can't win. But the reality is, this is very much their own doing. All through the election campaign and all through their term, the three coalition partners have either been using racist dog whistles to work up anti-Māori sentiment, or outright and deliberately undoing the work that's been done over generations to help try and achieve the equitable outcomes that were promised in our founding document. Understandably, those who feel the most impacted by these changes are not impressed with them. And the reaction from the ministers at Waitangi, well, it makes things worse. Winston Peters acted like a petulant child, saying, "A time will come when you'll want to talk to us far more than we want to talk to you." Shane Jones threatened future funding for the Marae Trust, which is kaitiakitanga to one of the most significant locations in the history of the country, while pointing out that he also gave them money already, so he expected to be treated better. David Seymour used his shunning as an excuse to tell those listening for his dog whistles online that despite how he was treated, he still believes in free speech and equality for everyone who has it now. And through it all, the Prime Minister has been silent because he's not there to face up to the criticisms or respond to the stirring. He's not there to take responsibility as the leader he's meant to be. In fact, Chris Luxon, Nicola Willis, Chris Bishop and Simeon Brown all skipped Wednesday's proceedings so Luxon could announce a new road and visit his old school in Christchurch. We see the result of the blather, bluster and indifference becoming more and more apparent as well. We saw it during the oral submissions on the Treaty Principles Bill, the Māori ward removals, the erasure of 7AA, the name changes to government departments and decisions around justice, health, education and so much more. We see it in the language and word usage showing up on social media platforms, which now match the type that we find on known white supremacist anti-Māori content online. And this week, the leader of a local business association in Tamaki Makaurau stood up in front of their local board that they work with and used the same language and lines to complain about Māori being rammed down his throat in a public meeting. And while the local business association has apologised, the fact that he felt this was even appropriate to begin with is a problem and the result of exactly what we've seen happen. All of these actions create division and backs up the feelings Māori have that this government is out to get them, to undermine their reo, culture and identity, which means when politicians behind it show up to an event at Waitangi Day, they know that they're going to hear about it and then can use it to keep pushing their rhetoric as sound bites and social media updates, which keeps driving that division, which their most hardcore voters seem to really relish in. Creating a self-inflicted catch-22, which could have been avoided if they hadn't decided to make being anti-Māori a cornerstone of their political identities in the election. But punching down is easy when you're out to try and get votes, so that was never going to happen. And through it all, the Prime Minister is hiding, not taking responsibility, not working to stop it from happening, and then feigning ignorance as to why things are the way they are. Just like what we would expect from a leader. So the government has very firmly put themselves in a position where they're damned if they go and damned if they don't when it comes to Waitangi. They were warned before the election and during all their changes that they rushed through that the outcomes would impact Māori more than anyone else, and they ignored it, downplayed it, and tried to gaslight the public about it in a way one online commentator likened to the language used by abusers talking to their victims. And because of that, they don't deserve an ounce of sympathy from the public. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.